Hello, friends. Welcome in. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show, Super Talk 99.7 WT. And bye, Eva. I was just saying goodbye to a newfound friend. And Heather. Heather was in here, too. Hello and welcome in. Good afternoon. May I be the first to say a good afternoon to you? It is 7 minutes after 12 o'clock, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy, and we have a little show. I don't know what that's about. I don't know why you're playing it. Tell me what was that for? What was that?
Who did that?
I don't understand. I don't understand what I did to merit a. What did I do to merit a? I just got here.
I'll explain it at the end of the show. So if you really want to know what that's about, you'll listen to all 3 hours.
And so you listen to 3 hours, and then Bell will tell you why he's doing this to me right now.
I'm just glad that was manufactured.
Well, I mean, that's the problem, Weavers, that some people are listening with half of their head, and they're thinking that I'm up here.
They think you're Jerry Swalwellin.
It's well said, sir. I'm not Swalwellin up here. I'm mass communicating.
Yes, sir.
That's why we're trying to get it done. Hello, Weaver. How are you?
What's going on, Brother Murphy?
I am. I'm running around like a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. I mean,
yeah, boy, that's a dangerous place to be.
I'm as busy as my grandpa used to say, as a one-legged man at a butt-kicking contest.
Man, I wish I could have met your grandpa.
Oh, he was so good.
I love that saying. I've used that saying a lot.
Well, I mean, I got up this morning. I felt like you. I thought of you, Weaver.
Oh, yeah?
Because I felt some of your pain because I was trying to get from Mount Juliet, Tennessee, to Franklin, Tennessee.
Oh, yeah. You've got to take a circuitous route
at 7:30 in the morning. And I have discovered something.
Yes, sir.
There is no way to get there from here. I mean, that's another thing. You can't get there from here. There's no positive way at 7:30 on a Thursday morning to get from Mount Juliet, Tennessee to Franklin, Tennessee.
No.
There's just not. And you just have to suck it up and recognize that wherever you're going and whatever time you were supposed to be there, you're going to be late.
Yeah.
Because you did not give yourself enough time. But
right.
I was only 5 minutes late, though, so I felt good about that.
That's not bad.
And then I had to go from Franklin, Tennessee, back to Music Row, and where I had two overlapping meetings. But it's all good. It's all wonderful. I'm glad. I'm glad to be busy. I'm happy to see when you're busy. Normally, bad things have happened.
Yes.
Sometimes when I'm busy, bad things have happened. But
yes.
Sometimes when you're busy, it's a good thing. We're getting ready for 2025 and beyond. I love it.
Well, we are.
Man, 2025 is going to go.
Whew, it's going to be something, dude.
It's going to be something. Now, Bell is shaking his head as if he's very upset in there, and I appreciate that. So we're going to leave Bell alone for just a moment. But Headless Bell is controlling the experience in there in the control room for as best he can, making sure that everything that comes out of our speaker sounds as good as humanly possible. It is Thursday, December 12, 2024. Thank you for being around. Episode 712 of our proceedings today. It is Locks for Trump Day 285. For 285 full days, I've been growing out my hair. It's literally the least that I could do, not to go get a haircut. But I've been growing it out in anticipation, first of a new president-elect, which we got on November 5th. Yay, kudos. And now I'm growing out in anticipation of the inauguration that's happening on January 20th, and then we're going to cut all of this off, or I don't know what we're going to do. But we've got lots to get into today on the show, to include drones over New York and New Jersey. May I join the chorus of individuals that's very confused about why we're not doing more about this? I don't, for the life of me, understand. I mean, where is – and I've been out of pocket all day. I've had 3 separate meetings over the course of the morning, so okay. I've been out of the news cycle. Okay. Has anyone asked the question, where's Joe Biden?
That's a good question. That's a good question. The only hint that we have that he's still around is that he made a record number of pardons and commutations. Over 1,500.
Today?
Today.
Was Trump one?
Well, he didn't need to. Well, I guess he can. Well, I guess he can pardon state ones too, can he?
No, I don't think he can do state. He can only do federal.
And he is now threatening to veto a bill, which the House passed this morning, that fills 66 federal judgeships, 22 of which President-elect Trump would be able to fill. Biden says all of a sudden, no, I'm going to veto that. So that's not going to happen this Congress. However, we have not seen the president.
So he's off signing. He's busy signing pardons and commutations. 1,500 of them. I've got to get into that.
At least 1,500 is what I've seen.
So we have to dig through that and see what we're actually dealing with.
Yeah.
And
apparently, it's for crimes that he says would not have such serious consequences today.
Okay. I wonder if he's holding back on some of those nice blanket pardons that he's got in his back pocket. You know, he gave his son Hunter a blanket pardon, a nice little 10-year blanket pardon. Actually, it's more than 10, like 11 years. So I'm wondering if he's going to hold off and offer some of those blanket pardons to to the usual suspects, the Adam Schiffs of the world, the Liz Cheneys of the world, some of these others. I wonder if Christopher Wray's in line for a blanket pardon. I don't know. I mean, you never know. In the aftermath of him announcing his resignation yesterday, maybe that's something that might happen. Well, we'll discuss the absence of Joe Biden on the stage when it comes to what I can only describe as a national security threat, and for the life of me, I don't understand why we're not doing more about it. Now, there are the right people asking the right questions when it comes to some of these drones over New York and New Jersey, but a lot of this came about because of the American people. The American people looked up in the sky and they saw these huge. These are not a drone. This is not a drone like you're going to give Junior for Christmas and put under the Christmas tree. This is not one of those little little 4-engine drones with the little propellers on either side that you send up and you got a little camera on it and you can do a little drone work. These are huge drones, like the size of VW microbuses, that big of a drone. And they're coming from somewhere and they're here for some reason, and no one seems to understand where they're coming from or what they're here for, at least as of this morning at 7:30 when I left the house. We will delve into that over the course of the day this afternoon and try to figure out what the hell's going on in that regard. Secondarily, we're going to continue our conversation that was brought about primarily, I hate to say it, but it's true, primarily because of the assassination of a CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson. Due to that assassination, it's caused a lot of conversation about health care and whether or not we have a broken health care system, a broken health insurance system, a broken system of really both, or a combination of, some things are broken one, some things are broken the other. I believe that our health care is as good as it has ever been in the history of human beings in the United States of America. And I think the facts bear me out on that. That does not mean that you can gain access to it without an extreme amount of money, extremely deep wallets. Sadly, that is a system that we created. Our health insurance system has failed so many of us, particularly those of you that find that you need it. I mean, I've quoted this statistic several times, and I did so with Chad Benson earlier in the Cross. And I want to remind you, 71% of Americans say that they're satisfied with their health insurance. Why do you think that figure is so high if we hear some of these horror stories so much? If I open the phone lines at 615-737-9986, and I'm not necessarily, but if I did, I mean, the phone lines are always open, don't get me wrong, but I mean on this particular subject. If I open up the phones and asked you to tell me your horror stories regarding health insurance, we would spend all 3 hours doing so, and tomorrow, and all week next week, until we put a stop to it. All you have to do is ask, and people will have a story in their lives about the health insurance industry screwing them over on some level. Why is it then that 71% of Americans say, well, I'm fine with my health insurance? It's because we're not using it. Health insurance companies, and more broadly, insurance companies, are in the business of doing what? They're in the business of collecting premiums. The business model is such that it leaves a bad taste in your mouth when you actually say it out loud. But the business model, if I'm doing the job that my shareholders put me in charge of the company to do, then I am to collect as many premiums as possible, and I'm to pay out as few claims as possible. Now, that does not mean that I don't have a soul. It does not mean that I don't have ethics or morals. And it does not mean that I have to go against our stated policy in order to accomplish the goal that I just laid out. But that is a fact. That if you collect a lot of premiums and you keep profits high and you pay out a minimal amount of claims, that either means that your clientele is extremely healthy or you're finding ways through the policies to deny those claims. I have precious little to do with any of this as an employee of this company, for example, because I don't make any of the decisions regarding my health insurance. None. Why? Because my health insurance is provided through my employer, and it comes at a lesser rate because it is a benefit of doing this job and working for this company. But with that benefit comes concession, and the concession is primarily control. I don't have any most Americans don't have a bit of control about what type of health insurance they have because they're not allowed to. Why? Well, part of the reason why is because our employers take so much of that role. Why? Why is it the job, and I'm sorry to confuse the language, but why is it the job of my boss to dictate what type of health insurance I am a part of with the insurer? Well, the insurer loves it because it takes them a step away from the patient covered, and they only have to discuss or deal with one entity, the employer. They don't have to deal with 100 or 1,000 or however many employees might be with the company, depending on what company you're talking about. Does any of this make any sense to anyone? And it is just the tip of the iceberg with regard to trying to crack down on why our health insurance industry has become so horribly broken. And I see it as clearly as I'm looking into an unmuddied lake. I see what the solution is going to be, and it's not going to work. I was speaking with someone earlier today. It's a sponsor or someone that I'm going to be talking about with a fair amount of regularity starting at the beginning of the year. And this person is in the healthcare industry. And years ago, this person started declining to take insurance in his practice. And he has so much insight into why he saw the writing on the wall so many years ago in 2011 about where all of this was going and about how every bit of it, every regulation, every rule in place thanks to Obamacare, every micromanagement point, and every dictate that was coming down from the insurance companies, all of these things collectively were doing effectively the same thing, and that is taking away the doctor-patient relationship, taking him further away from his patients. Because a lot of good doctors want to do right by their patients, and they're dictated to by the insurance companies or the pharmaceutical industry, and don't get me started on them. And more, it seems that these industries that claim to care about you don't give one damn about you. It reminds me, have you ever seen Monty Python's The Meaning of Life? And I know that this is a dated reference lost on younger listeners. And I haven't seen it in probably 20 years. So I might be getting minute details of what I'm about to tell you wrong, and if so, I apologize. But the general principle remains. Here's what the health insurance industry has become. The beginning of Monty Python's The Meaning of Life. There's a woman who's pregnant who's about to have a baby. And you're seeing all of this from the woman's perspective, right? She's being wheeled into a hospital room, and she's in heavy labor, and she's about to have a baby. And it's her and her husband. And they wheel them in. A nurse is there. Oh, it's the miracle of life. You're about to have a child. Congratulations. And then the nurse comes in, and the nurse starts talking to the woman about what needs to happen and what needs to be done. And then another nurse comes in, and she brings a little piece of equipment with her. Oh, we need that little piece of equipment And they're in a room, right? They're in a small, like, hospital room. And so they bring in a piece of equipment. Oh, we're going to need that piece of equipment. And then another doctor comes in, and he starts fiddle-farting around with things. And then another guy comes in, and he's getting the stirrups up ready. And then somebody else brings in another piece of equipment. And then another nurse comes in, and she's attaching an IV. And then before you know, I mean, there are all of these different people and all of these different doctors and all of these different pieces of equipment. And then the room is so packed with people and equipment and stuff. And suddenly somebody says, "Who are you?" And he looks at the husband, and he says, "I'm the husband." He goes, No. Only people involved with this process need to be in here. Get out. It's pretty funny. They push the husband out because he's not involved. That's the way our medical industry's become. Everyone's talking to everybody else. Your doctor is talking to their group, and their group is talking to the insurance company, and the insurance company is talking to their shareholders and their CEO. And the insurance company is talking to the hospitals, and the hospitals are talking to the doctors' associations, and everybody's talking to the pharmaceutical companies, and the pharmaceutical companies are talking to the government, and the healthcare providers are talking to the government, and the hospitals are talking to the government, and the government's talking to all of them, and not a damn person is talking to me. Not one. Not doctors, not pharmacists, not hospitals, not insurance companies, not medical providers, nobody. But we care about your health. So no, I don't question why emotions are high. But I ask what we're going to do about it. And I don't know that I have that answer, because I'm afraid what's going to happen in the next 10 years is that the government's going to step in, and as the government does, it's going to take advantage of a situation and promise to dump free money on top of it. And before you know it, we have single-payer health care in America. And that's not the answer. It's 24 minutes after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here for Men of Valor. I love this organization. I love what they do for our community, and I know that you love them too. Men of Valor really gets down to where the goats can graze on it, as they say. That was another phrase that my grandpa used from time to time. What that means is they understand that the only way you're going to affect hearts and souls is to get to where they are and where they are in need. And in our prison system, the need's never been greater. 90% of men who go to prison are going to get out, and sadly, 50% of those men will go back at some point unless they are discipled to, unless they're shown a better way. And that's what happens with Men of Valor. Men of Valor needs volunteers in the prison systems and on their campus at their aftercare reentry program. They have 2 campuses to serve. One's in Nashville, and we did a show there recently, and it just filled my heart with gladness and joy for the individuals that were going through the graduate program. They need job partners and Bible study teachers, people who are willing to go into the prison systems or those who want to help in other ways. Will you be a partner? Will you help? MOVministry.com. That's MOVministry.com for more information about the fine people of Men of Valor.
The FBI should have done more on January 6th. We'll tell you about it. It's in a report coming out of D.C. coming up at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Ken Weaver. I didn't mean to yell at people. I just get so frustrated. And many of you on the super text line, rightfully so, you're saying, bring me the machine that goes bing, which is a great line from that opening scene.
Calling your insurance company, you might as well carve out 2 hours of your day.
I'm telling you.
Because it is at least a 2-hour phone call.
Your biggest problem, Mr. Negative, is that you just don't have faith in government. They're going to get it right eventually.
Before either before or perhaps just after you die.
Maybe right as the death certificate being filled out.
Got to laugh to keep from crying.
I mean, I'm telling you. Go watch. I have not watched this. I'm gonna do this during Ken's News. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna watch this opening scene because it really does illustrate. Like, they got this equipment and they got this thing and that thing and the machine that goes bing and this guy and that guy and the anesthesiologist and the stirrup guy and that nurse and that gal and that person. And then suddenly they look at the husband and is like, what are you doing in here? I'm the husband. You don't belong in here. Get out of here. Like, what?
You have nothing to do with this,
You have nothing to do with any of this. Like, wait a minute. What? I think we've lost our way. I think maybe we've lost our way. What about patients talking to doctors? What about medical care is the only thing in American society that I do on a regular basis, and I have no idea what it costs. Why is that? And who benefits from that? Have you thought about it? If you go to get your car fixed and the mechanic tells you what's wrong with your car, what's the next question you're asking? How much is that going to be? And he tells you, well, I can't tell you exactly until I get in there, but it's probably going to be about $2,000, $2,500, somewhere in that neighborhood.
And they'll give you a breakdown of what that is.
Of what that means. It's going to be
parts. It's going to be labor.
Right. Anywhere you go, before you buy something, you know what it costs. The medical why do you think costs are what they are? It's because the customers that actually have to do the paying have no idea what they're paying on the front end. 615-737-9986. If you have any thoughts on this, Larry, you'll be first up. We got news right now. It's the Libertarian Lunchtime Hour. Yes, Bell K.
Oh, yeah. The title real quick.
Oh, thank you. No. I didn't want to bug you. You seemed very upset.
Oh, I was. Yeah.
Were you livid?
Yes.
Was that you livid?
Yes.
Man, if Bell had a head, his head would
explode.
Have been. There would have been steam coming off of it.
There would have been no head left.
But thankfully, it's headless Bell. It's Ken Weaver back in News Closet B. It's Matt Murphy over here in the studio. It's a Thursday edition. You can find us on a variety of platforms, to include 99.7 FM, all of your streaming platforms, our own app, and of course, Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Episode 712 is entitled
Matt Murphy, your afternoon drive host.
See, you keep
so anxious to own the libs that he's 3 hours early.
You keep doing that. I like what you're doing there. I like the theme that you're developing there, and I appreciate that greatly.
It's going to take people a while to realize some changes are coming.
Well, maybe so. I don't know. I was just expressing some of those changes to our own Congressman Mark Green. I'll tell you about that exchange coming up in just a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Breaking news out of D.C. A new report says the FBI should have done more to collect intelligence before the Capitol riot, even though the Bureau did prepare for the possibility of violence on January 6, 2021. This coming from the Associated Press, this watchdog report released today. U.S. Senate pushing toward a vote on legislation that would provide full Social Security benefits to millions of people rather than limit them. This sets up a potential passage in the final days of the lame duck Congress. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says he's going to begin the process for a final vote on the bill. And new rules from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau could save Americans billions of dollars a year in overdraft fees. We get that from Elizabeth Schulze, who is in Washington.
Typically, you might pay your bank an overdraft fee of $35 per transaction if you spend more money than you have available in your checking account. Well, now this new rule would cap those fees at $5 for many customers. Banks could still end up charging you more than $5, but if they do, you'd have to agree to those terms up front, like when you take out a loan.
Turning to sports and money here in Nashville, Music City's been chosen to host college football championship games in 2026 and 2027. The Nashville Sports Council announcing today the city will host the Football Championship Subdivision FCS Championships at First Bank Stadium on Vanderbilt's campus. First Bank Stadium, newly renovated, seats approximately 35,000 people, features modern facilities, fan-focused amenities, a state-of-the-art locker room, and a 4-level press box. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
I mean, if you own some guns, you need to own a safe. And if you own a safe, you need to buy your safe from Nashville Safe House. That's about as plain as I can be about it. Why? Well, a couple of reasons why. One, Nashville Safe House has incredible rebates this time of year because of the holidays. You know, Browning and the like. I mean, they've got Browning, they've got Liberty, they've got Fort Knox, they've got Champion, Superior, Rhino, and all of the rest. They have more safes than I could probably count during the time that I'm on the radio on a daily basis. I mean, a lot of safes, like 200 in the showroom and sometimes as many as 400 in their warehouses. In other words, they have something for you. So you don't have to depend on the safe selection that they have. You just depend on what you're looking for: size, shape, price point, fire rating, whatever it might be, and they can find a safe for you at Nashville Safe House. I'm angling to be the Nashville Safe House Salesperson of the Year for 2025. Last year, it was Kamala Harris. The year before that, it was Joe Biden. I mean, because they sell a lot of safes because of their sad policies. But I'm looking to sell some safes in 2025 as well. So go by Nashville Safe House and tell them I sent you. 4th Avenue South, right across the street from City Cemetery. Tell Mark and the crew, Matt Murphy sent you to Nashville Safe House. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you. Happy lunchtime hour.
Oh.
We call it the Libertarian lunch, by the way.
I totally forgot to tell you something
Okay.
during the opening.
Uh-oh.
Crap.
What do you mean crap?
Do you want to know?
Well, yeah. Oh. So.
I feel better now.
Do you? Do you now?
Puppies don't.
The puppies don't. That's right, Ken Weaver.
They feel terrible.
Puppy just died because of you, Belle. If you're new to the show, know this. I hate the phrase Friday Eve, mainly because Friday happens once a week, every 7 days, and Saturday's perfectly serviceable. Thursday's a perfectly good word for Thursday, and Friday's Friday, and I hate the phrase and always have. I know that many of you say it. I know that many of you wallow about in it. You ragamuffins. You plebes out there in the hinterland, you love talking about Friday Eve. Well, talk away about Friday Eve, but just to know that every time you say Friday Eve, a puppy dies. Every time. See what he did? See what he did?
Kind of like when a bell rings, an angel gets its wings.
That's exactly. That's one hell of an angel right there. They just got some wings. That's a big.
Don't know if I want that one coming around.
Here's a little taste. This is what I was doing while Kid Weaver was doing the news.
Yes. Yes, more apparatus, please, nurse.
More apparatus.
The EEG, the BP monitor, and the AVV.
Yes, certainly, Doctor.
And get the machine that goes bing! And get the most expensive machines in case the administrator comes.
That's the Monty Python, the meaning of life. It just gets better from there. Get the most expensive machines just in case the administrator comes. Got to justify my large salary. Now, don't we? Larry's in Clarksville with a thought on health care. Larry's more intimately knowledgeable about the health care system than most of us. How you doing, Larry?
Hey, brother, I'm still above the daisies, and thanks to Bill K for, getting you teed off before I called you about Friday Eve.
There goes another puppy.
Sorry. I love puppies.
Well, you did. Yeah, you just killed one.
Well, I didn't. Bill K did. A quick anecdote about everyone that loves socialized healthcare. A very dear friend who's a VP in a company that it is and lives in Great Britain and has Great Britain's mandatory government health care. And then he also has to pay $780 a month for an external health care policy when it came time for them, for his wife to deliver their baby. And they went to the hospital. And these are words right from his mouth. I mean, he knows. They delivered their baby in one of the closets in that hospital.
Oh, man.
And I thank God the baby turned out okay, but had there been an issue, what items are available in a closet? And then I have several dear friends, a couple who listen to you and sometimes, gripe at me about it, but I have a couple of friends in Canada. Well, I have several in Canada, but a couple that listen to you. Their health care, their mandatory government health care runs out in September. It takes them 6 to 9 months to get to the hospital or get to the doctor for a cold or a flu. And many of them have to come down to the U.S. to get health care. And then from my own experience, which you kind of know, I went through $65,000 after health care in the last 2 years, out of pocket. But still, had it not been for health care available to me, I wouldn't be here today. Had it not been for health insurance, I would not be here today. So as many gripes as I have about health insurance, I'm still glad I have it. I'm just glad I don't have government insurance.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you have it too, and I'm glad it's available for people that need it. But it is sadly a broken system, as you well know, Larry. And I appreciate the call and reflecting on that. And unfortunately, I fear that individuals looking for answers will begin looking more and more for government to take over the system or at very least to, quote unquote, fix the failures within the system. Part of the frustration I had during the conversations regarding Obamacare in 2009 were simply that any government seizure of the private market operations of the system is going to lead naturally to a single-payer government system. And if you have one singular provider, just because it's the government running the show and having all of these, I mean, think about all of these, what were we calling them? Government NGOs, non-government offices, non-governmental organizations. You want to talk about NGOs on steroids? On steroids. And since when has government made anything more accountable in terms of money? When has government saved money? I mean, even the things that government does well, and it's precious few things, government should do nothing the private sector can do. Nothing. Nothing. Because it will never do it as efficiently as the private sector. It will never do it as well, especially when there's no competitive environment. Part of the problem that we see that exists right now is overregulation on the part of government. Because sadly, more and more people nowadays, and I don't begrudge people thinking this way, I'm not preaching. Well, my grandpa always said it's okay to preach to the choir, but don't start condemning the choir to hell because next Sunday you're not going to have a choir. So I'm not condemning anybody to hell here, but I am preaching to the choir to a certain degree that if you have this belief that health insurance providers have to provide you coverage for anything and everything, regardless of the policy that you agree to, then you're wrong. I understand the frustration is born from the fact that you have precious little input into what policies that you agree to because the health insurance companies have you over a barrel. Because they're either not dealing directly with you, they're more concerned about dealing with doctors and hospitals, patient groups, or employers, and not with the individual needs of the person that they're insuring. Once again, I don't pretend to have all of the answers about how to solve it, but I promise you this, you go a long way in solving it. If I were king for the day, I would say that we need to figure out a way. I don't know how you do it, but we need to dissolve the employer healthcare insurer relationship and make insurance a contractual agreement and arrangement between the individual and the health insurance company, having not, much like your car insurance. You don't have car insurance through your employer. Why do you have health insurance through your employer? If you want to see how the government runs healthcare, go to the VA. And that's a closed system. I watched my mother on Medicaid when I was a child. I hate hospitals, and I understand that they provide good service, and I understand that they are needed and necessary, and I understand that there are many good hospitals. I'm not knocking individual hospitals. I hate hospitals because one of my earliest childhood memories was from inside of one. I spent my 5th year, my 6th year, my 7th year, and my 8th year in a hospital. Watching my mother go through brain surgery, watching my mother go through the residual surgeries and the residual impact of said brain surgeries, and watching my mother go through chemotherapy. Some of my earliest childhood memories were imprinted upon me inside of hospitals. And that was in 1978, 1979, and 80 and 81, before things got really bad. This is not to say that people aren't trying their best, and I understand that they are, and I want to make sure that I address this and say it over and over and over again. I promise you, my frustration, my anger, my annoyance is about systems in place. It's about the dynamic of how those systems relate to one another versus how they relate to us. It has nothing to do with people. There are many, many great doctors. There are many, many great nurses. There are many, many great nurse practitioners. There are many great people within the medical field. And believe it or not, there are many great hospital administrators. And there are many good insurance providers. And every single one of them would tell you that there's a lot of things wrong with the system. Individually, they'll tell you that, and they feel helpless too. They don't feel like there's anything they can do either. Doctors coming out of medical school, it is a feeder system. Y'all know that, right? They go to work for these groups that have assigned insurance companies, and they are fed patients. They don't have to earn. I mean, I'm sorry. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. Do doctors coming out of medical school have to earn patients anymore? Earn patients with bedside manner and a trust and a relationship. Or is it just churn and burn? And, oh, these are the medical providers that you need to choose from, and you call, oh, it'll be 6 months before you can get it. Oh, it'll be 5 months before you. Oh, we've got a new doctor that just started. She's got openings. Okay.
Something else I've never understood for the life of me is, I get the group plan situation. But why can I only enroll in insurance between November and December? Why is that a thing? What difference does it make when I sign up with you?
It's a great question, Bell. It's a little bit of a false premise because you can snake around it, but
they put you through the ringer to do it.
Yes, they do. Your wallet and your soul, your mental well-being. Oh, it's very, very frustrating for most people who have to deal with it. And how do you fix it? 7004 says, how do you fix it? Lots of concerts. That's what fixes it. I like that. That's funny. If I'm getting the joke, that's funny. Jason wrote in and said, my best friend had his practice for 11 years, and he had to earn every patient that he had. And I don't think that's the case anymore. I mean, at what point did it change that I can't call my doctor and get an appointment because I'm sick this week? Has anybody thought about that? I mean, at what point did it become so impossible to see my doctor that all of these doc-in-the-box urgent care places popped up, and now I am told by my doctor, if I call and say I'm sick and I want to see my doctor, I am told by my doctor, my GP, my primary care physician, that I need to go to somebody else. We don't do that. We don't treat sick people around here. Oh, we can get you in. It's 2 months from now. So much so that a lot of doctors are going to more concierge-style service, and I don't blame them, and that's where I'm about to go. But you better have a little money up front. I'm about to say goodbye to the insurance industry, I think, personally. I'm not telling you to do that, but I mean, and there are some insurance companies that are better than others. I mean, you hear me talking about Oscar. I believe Oscar is better than most, and you can look at the statistical data about declinations, and you can see that that is the case. They decline fewer claims than most anybody else in the industry, but they're an outlier. It is James and Don and Zach coming up in just a moment. 52 after the hour, a lively Libertarian lunchtime hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's Friday Eve all day long on the Mac Murphy Show.
Oh, easy.
Your go-to source for news, traffic, weather, the content you want to hear from Dan, Chris, Matt, and Brian.
Start streaming now by downloading the Super Talk 99.7 WTN app.
Bell K about to make me start disavowing my own radio show. Can't believe that. Hey, I don't disavow this, though. As a matter of fact, I avow it. USS stands for United Structural Systems, and homeowners trust the USS and have for a long, long time. So if you have noticed any telltale signs of your home settling to a certain degree, maybe it's walls bowing, maybe you've noticed cracks, maybe you've gone to the basement of the crawl space and you've seen that telltale stair step cracking that happens in the mortar joints. You need peace of mind. You need to make sure that this is A-OK. And if it's not, you need a solution that works for you, your family, and your budget. United Structural Systems is that company. They have given over 25,000 customers 100% satisfaction. And here's how they make that happen. They come to your home. You get problem solvers. You don't get people that are trying to upsell you on anything. They're just going to diagnose what's wrong with your home, get to work repairing it at the lowest possible cost. It is why homeowners trust USS. It's why they've been in business since 1994, and it's why I recommend them to you. USS, keeping homes stable and dry. They guarantee their best at USS. 615-488-7855, 488-7855, or go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com.
Morgan Wallen just pleaded guilty. Hear what the judge told him coming up at 1 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much again, Mr. Ken Weaver. He's got headlines coming up in just a couple of minutes on this Thursday edition of the Matt Murphy Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I want your best conspiracy theory on drones in the 1 o'clock hour. Your best drone conspiracy theory in the 1 o'clock hour. We'll also talk with you about health insurance. A lot of you calling in with your own personal stories and thoughts on where we are and how we got here and where we're going with regard to insurance and with regard to health care coverage more broadly. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. James, as a matter of fact, in Mount Juliet. Let's get to James real quick. Hey, James.
Hey, Matthew. How are you doing today?
I'm fabulous, sir.
Well, I want to give you props for channeling your inner Mark Levin earlier in the segment. I had to stop and look at my watch. I thought, man, what time is it?
I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry for yelling during lunch. I apologize.
No, not a problem, brother. I trust me. I've got stories to yell about myself. But also props for the eloquent and accurate use of the term fiddle fart. You, me, and my father are the only three men that I know of that know how to utilize accurately that term.
You learned it from your dad?
Yes, I did.
I learned mine from my grandpa, so that's good.
I was a fiddle farter when I was a boy, and we'll leave it at that. But
yeah, that's what my great. Hey, James, I got to tell you something. Because I got good. We got to hold on with the other stuff, but I'll tell James this real quick. James, hold on. I'm going to get to you as soon as we get back from the news. But my grandpa would give me a lot of that because I started driving when I was 12 because my mother couldn't, and my grandfather taught me to drive early, and by extension, I had use of the car even before I had a car. And my grandpa was, how late you stay out last night fiddle farting around? He'd get on to you for fiddle farting. You can fiddle and you can fart, but don't start fiddle farting.
No, sir.
No, that's bad news.
What would happen if he caught you?
If you got caught fiddle farting?
Yeah. Is it ugly?
Pop you in the head till the white meat shows. That's what he would do. Put a whooping on you. All right, it's time for Ken Weaver's newscast. He's not fiddle farting around. He's getting right to the headlines on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 1 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. And right now in Nashville, country music superstar Morgan Wallen has just pleaded guilty to 2 charges in that chair throwing incident for which he was arrested in April. The judge handing down a 2-year sentence without any jail time other than 7 days in a DUI treatment education program.
Do you have any questions at all about what you're charged with and the punishment you could receive, that is the maximum punishment, and what you're pleading guilty to and the punishment that is being imposed?
No, ma'am.
If he completes probation, Wallen will be able to petition the court to have it all expunged from his record. Wallen faced reckless endangerment for throwing a chair from the rooftop of Chief's Bar downtown, narrowly missing Metro police officers who were standing on the sidewalk below. Those charges were felony, but they had been reduced recently to just misdemeanors. A new watchdog report on the January 6th riot is out. It says the FBI should have done more to collect intelligence before it happened. And it says federal agents had nothing to do with instigating it. This report from the Justice Department Inspector General's office claims 26 FBI informants were in Washington for election-related protests that day. And though 3 of them entered either the building or a restricted area outside, none had been authorized to do so by the Bureau or to break the law or encourage others to do so. U.S. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer preparing a vote to expand Social Security benefits for millions of Americans. The Social Security Fairness Act, which would eliminate policies that currently limit payouts for roughly 2.8 million beneficiaries, has already passed the House. The bill still needs support from at least 60 senators to pass Congress before heading to President Biden. Also in our nation's capital, the House passed a bill this morning that authorizes 63 new permanent district judgeships over the next 10 years. 22 of which President-elect Trump can fill during his term. Trump ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange this morning, celebrating Time Magazine, naming him Person of the Year for a second time.
I have to say, Time Magazine getting this honor for the second time. I think I like it better this time, actually, but we did a good job. We had a great first term, despite a lot of turmoil.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here for Craft Body Scan. I've been telling you about this wonderful buy one, gift one opportunity from Craft Body Scan. Want to remind you that the opportunity is still available, as a matter of fact, until December 31st. Let's talk about it. You know, holiday traditions are special in families, and everyone has a different one. But I want you to think about this. What about a holiday tradition that involves you and your health and making sure that everything's A-OK leading to the new year? One quick, non-invasive scan, and you can have a clear picture of hidden health issues like heart disease or cancer long before symptoms appear. I'm talking about the full body scan, and right now you can have a buy one, gift one special for couples. You buy one scan, that is a $2,495 scan, and you get a scan for free, completely gratis for a loved one in your life. That's what it's all about. Visit craftbodyscan.com to find out more details or any questions that you need answered. They can answer them. 615-436-1000. 615-436-1000. Give yourself and a loved one the gift of health this holiday season with Craft Body Scan. Back to your calls momentarily. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Best drone conspiracy theories later on this hour. Debbie Matthews, good friend of the show from Columbia, Tennessee, in the 2 o'clock hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, I need to interrupt because I want bragging privileges.
All right.
I want to be the first person to say congratulations on 3 years at WTN Radio.
Well, that's not
which
today.
will be tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
And I was the first to say it, so I get the props.
No, I told him that last week.
No, you didn't. No, you are over there lying.
Hey, you know what?
Stop it.
You know what it is? It's our anniversary eve.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me get some audio made up for that, and we'll have some fun with it the rest of the show.
People think because I hate Friday Eve so much that I also hate like New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve or no.
Adam and Eve.
No. Well, Eve. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, forgive Adam. She weren't wearing no clothes.
3 years, and you just fell right upwards into afternoon drive.
I mean, I don't understand how that happened, but yes, thank you, Belle. That's very kind of you. I had forgotten about that. 3 years ago, tomorrow will be was our initial start day on Super Talk 99.7 WTN at high noon. you and me together, and we made it 3 years and not much longer. And but for those who don't know, I'm moving to afternoons on January 2nd. Belle's staying in the midday. Belle and I are still friends. We still love one another, and we'll still be cohorts. And I might drag him in from time to time during the 3 o'clock. I don't
drag being the key word.
Right, because I don't expect that I could promise to drag him in anytime after 4 o'clock because I know where Belle's going after 4 o'clock, and it's not on this radio show. But maybe I can drag him in the 3 o'clock hour.
I can always call in.
Oh, sure. On the way home while you're stuck in traffic, heading up to Madison, to the palatial mansion, Bell Manor, as they call it. Thank you, Belle. That's very kind of you. Tomorrow is our 3rd-year anniversary. That's pretty cool. And I don't mind you wishing me a happy anniversary eve. And yes, my anniversary is on Friday the 13th. Ray has just pointed that out, and I did not realize it. Ooh, Friday the 13th. I love those shows.
I do too.
I love those spooky shows, Ken Weaver. We're going to bring the heat on the superstitions tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
On Friday the 13th.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
All day long on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, apparently. I can't wait.
No, it's on the Matt Murphy Show.
Well, just my show. Thank you. All right, back to calls momentarily. Real quick. Justice Department inspector, and Ken's been telling you about this, and I just want to reiterate it. Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz have now said that there were more than 24 confidential human sources in the crowd on January 6th, but then goes on to say only 3 were assigned by the FBI to be present for the event, while stressing that none of the sources was authorized or directed by the Bureau to break any laws or to encourage others to commit illegal acts. That, according to a report earlier today by Fox News and multiple other agencies. Horowitz today released a highly anticipated report on the FBI's handling of confidential sources and intelligence collection effort in the lead up to the January 6th election certification. Today's report also details the findings regarding FBI CHS's confidential human sources who were in Washington, D.C. on Jan 6. Our review determined that none of these FBI CHS's were authorized by the FBI to enter the Capitol or any restricted area or to otherwise break the law on January 6th. Nor was any CHS directed by the FBI to encourage others to commit illegal acts on January 6th. Well, did they? It begs the question. The report revealed that the FBI had a minor supporting role in responding to Jan 6, largely because the event was not deemed to be at the highest security level by the Department of Homeland Security, which they could have done. And, by the way, I would remind you that Donald Trump called and offered Nancy Pelosi 10,000 individuals to serve as Capitol police officers, auxiliary Capitol police officers on site, and Nancy Pelosi turned that down. James was talking with us, and we got to fiddle-farting around and didn't get to the meat of his subject, but he's back with us. James, I apologize for that, and I'm glad you were able to hold.
No apology necessary. I got to get Weaver's laugh as a ringtone. That would be the bomb.
That's funny. I was thinking about getting his laugh as my alarm to wake me up in the morning.
That would scare me a little bit, as that's the first thing I heard. But so what I was going to tell you.
I know what. Wait, hold on a second, James. You just gave me an idea. A Ken Weaver alarm clock. And it's on the bedside table, and the little alarm clock's beard just hangs over the side. And when it starts going off with Ken Weaver's laugh, you pull the goatee to snooze it. Huh?
I want a third of the cut. That's all I'm asking.
You got it, brother. You got it.
No, my reason I called was my wife has had a baker's dozen neck and back surgeries, and we deal with neurosurgeons, and the question was, the majority of the time that it got declined was during the peer-to-peer review, and I didn't know if anybody had paid attention to that. The neurosurgeon would prescribe a surgical procedure, and then the insurance company has a doctor that would do a peer-to-peer review of this. Now, the problem that I ran into was the peer for the insurance company was a general practitioner, not a specialist. And that used to just frustrate me beyond reason, because a neurosurgeon is a specialist and has targeted in on the proper repair for a better way of life. the general practitioner, he's ear, nose, and throat. So I just wondered if anybody else had the same type of frustrations that I had run into 12, 13 times on behalf of my wife.
Well, no, I mean, I hear these stories and I hear them over and over again, and some of the independent frustrations are just inexplicable. How can you ask someone to review that which a neurosurgeon has gone to school to study for years and years and years, specialty things like neurosurgery, and then you're passing them off to somebody that doesn't have that level of specialty? That doesn't make any sense.
No, it's very frustrating. But anyway, I appreciate your time.
Thank you, James.
Congratulations. I'll be the last one today. No, I'm just kidding. But to wish you congratulations, and it's a pleasure listening.
Well, thank you, James. I appreciate you calling in. Anytime you want to call, I love the conversation. I love having the interaction. Mike is next in Nash. Mike, thank you for your call. How are you, sir?
Okay, how you doing? Hey, let me ask you a question. Let's just be honest about this situation. And maybe I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, then you can correct me. Now, I'm gonna use myself as an example. I'm a single person. I don't have no wife or no children. Okay, they take $100. They take let's see. Okay, they take $100 a week out of my paycheck, which is $400. Okay, now you add that up for a whole year, and I'm probably only paying. Well, what would that be? I look at my math, and that would be $2,000 or $3,000 for a whole year for insurance. Is that about right?
Hold on, if they're taking $100 a week, that would be that would be $5,200
for 1 year.
There's 52 weeks in a year. If they're taking $100 a week, it'd be about $5,000. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's just be honest about the situation. Okay. Now, what if I needed a procedure? If something happened to me, say I found out that I had cancer, kidney cancer, liver cancer, or whatever. Okay, now we both know that the operation is going to cost no telling how much, $100,000 to $200,000, $300,000, maybe more than that, especially if you got to go on a kidney or a dialysis machine. Now you're telling me that I'm supposed to expect the insurance company to pay my $200,000, $300,000 hospital bill, even though I've only given them $5,000. Do you see what I mean? What people, I hear people arguing about that these companies are not paying for their operations, but they're not even giving these people $10,000 a year in payments. Do you see where I'm coming from? How can you expect an insurance company to dole out $500,000 or whatever it is for an operation when you're not even coming close to paying that amount of money? Can you understand what I'm trying to say?
I suppose I do, but I have a couple of questions, Mike. Your insurance is only $100 a month, or $100 a week?
Yes, I'm a single person with no kids. I'm 20 years old.
Your employer.
I just got the basic insurance.
Yeah. So it's $400. So so roughly $400 a month or $100 a week. Your employer doesn't cover any of that amount. It doesn't cover any of your insurance costs.
As far as I know, no, we don't have any company insurance. No, we don't have any.
Do you get your coverage through your company though?
Yes.
Are you sure they're not putting in some? I'm just asking. I'm not accusing. I'm just asking.
No, I don't have no problem. No problem. Like I said, as far as I know, like I said, I'm a young, healthy person, so I haven't had to use the insurance, so I don't know if they're doing it or not. But I'm just making an equation, for people to think about when you're paying these people, less than $10,000 a year. How can you expect them to, reach into their pocket and pay $300,000 or $400,000 to you for an operation?
Let me try to help you. Okay. I pay. Let's say it's the same amount. Okay. Let's say it's, just to keep the math simple. Let's say that I pay the same as you do, right? And we are paying into the same insurance provider. And so I pay $5,000 a month, and you pay $5,000 a year, and you pay $5,000 a year, and there's another 1,000 people that pay $5,000 a year. You with me so far?
Yeah.
All right, so
I understand what you're saying.
Suddenly that's $5 million. Well, of the 1,000 people that are paying that amount of money in, many like me will ask for no service over the course of that year. That's what insurance.
That's the way I am. I don't need no service. Like I say, I'm young.
Let's take it away from health insurance for a minute. No, this is a great conversation, Mike. I like this. So, do you know off the top of your head how much you pay for car insurance every month?
No, believe it or not, my car insurance is more than my health insurance.
Wow.
You know that. You know how much insurance costs in Tennessee for full coverage. I'm paying damn near $250, $300 a month for car insurance.
Right. So let's say it's $300 a month. That's $3,600 a year. If you total your car tomorrow, and they have to cover the cost of replacing your car, that's a hell of a lot more than $3,600. Mike, how are they doing that?
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. Now that you told me, I never thought about it that way. Of like you said, there's other people
it's a
paying $5,000 a year.
Yeah, it's a collective.
Yeah, it's a collection.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you explained it to me, because that's what I was trying to figure out, how somebody could be upset about paying $5,000 a year. But I didn't realize that you got other people that's paying the same amount. And one other thing I wanted to congratulate you. You're right about that. When people say that they agree with the health care insurance coming through their job, like you said, you don't have to pay car insurance through your job, so why should you have to do health care? And I definitely agree with you on that.
Well, Mike, I appreciate you. Check your check stub, whatever version you get, and see if your employer's not cutting you in a little bit on that health insurance. I almost guarantee you, Mike, that they are, because even at $400 a month, $100 a week, that sounds low. Now, maybe you have a certain amount of I don't know. There are probably some coverage options that get that low. I don't know of them. I think typically it's more in the $600 range monthly. So the problem is that health insurance providers agree to cover certain aspects of your potential insurance needs, and then they deny you coverage based on what people perceive as loopholes within the system, and they deny specifically so they don't have to pay out claims that they promised to pay on the front end. The collective nature of the system is becoming a burden because we are overwhelmingly out of shape and unhealthy. I say overwhelmingly, maybe that's stretching it a little bit. We're more unhealthy than we've ever been as a society, and that is further burdening the system. We're also living longer. And because we live longer, older people need more medical care. And not enough young people are entering into the pipeline, into the system. I mean, the nature of the system itself, if you think about it, works against the system itself. And I'm not saying I have a solution. I'm saying if I'm 25 and I am bulletproof, I am Superman. What do I want to spend $100 a week paying into a health insurance system that I'm never going to use in my mind, in my own head? Never going to use that. You have to have healthy people in order to make the system work. Have to. I mean, look, I'm a net giver, not a take. And I'm not begrudging the takers, don't get me wrong. But I'm a big-time net giver as opposed to a net taker when it comes to that pooled system. Nick says, I'm single, zero dependents, and I only pay $40 a week. Congratulations, Nick. I don't know if your company's paying a little bit more than that, but if not, that's pretty awesome. Good for you. 615-737-9986. I hope that makes sense, Mike. I wish that we would go to a more car insurance model on all of this. I wish we would cut our employers out of the system. I wish that we would not expect that insurance companies would pay for basic maintenance of our bodies. There is zero reason why you should expect your insurance company to pay for your dental cleaning. None. It just jacks up rates for everybody. I don't think that our insurance companies should pay for basic care in terms of, I mean, I understand that there's an argument to be made that preventative care or annual physicals or whatever are beneficial because you can catch things early on, and I get that, but I think that should be considered basic maintenance on your body. I think there's a lot of ways if we got government out of the way that the free market could solve some of the problematic issues that are popping up because of the CEO being assassinated in New York City. It's 23 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Started with AM, then came FM, then internet radio, and now Super Talk TV.
Did we go too far allowing you to see us?
Live on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch.
Yes, the answer is yes. You went too far allowing people to see us on Super Talk TV. But I'll tell you this, Jeff Eddy, there's never too far that he would go to make sure that you get the maximum life out of your heater this winter. If you've already noticed problems with your heater, you need to call Jeff Eddy. If your heater doesn't seem ready, call Jeff Eddy. If you're not blowing hot already, it's just going to get colder outside. We're going to have some winter storms. We're going to have some winter snowfall. It's going to be cold outside. Do you want to have to call Jeff then because your heater goes out? No. Call him right now and let him get that thing fixed jiffy quick. And odds are he can get it fixed before you have total breakdown. Now, when you have total breakdown, and it will happen, sad to say, Jeff Eddy's ready to go. They're an Elite Pro partner with Rheem, and he can help you pick out the right unit for you and your family. Jeff Eddy keeps overhead down. He keeps invoices small, no overtime rates on nights or weekends. Thank you to Jeff Eddy. So I like to say, if your heater's not ready, call Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling, EfficientHVAC.net, EfficientHVAC.net, or 615-784-4424, 784-4424.
We'll tell you more about that Justice Department Inspector General's report on the January 6th riot coming up at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much. Ken Weaver's back in News Closet B, Bell K, a.k.a. Headless Bell, behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of our speaker sounds as good as possible. My name is Matt Murphy. I'm just the lovable curmudgeon between noon and 3. Tomorrow, I'm on the drive from 3 until 7, like I have been telling you these many weeks. Mondays and Fridays, I'm on 3 to 7. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, noon to 3. Thank you for indulging us at the beginning of the year. After we say fare thee well to Brian Wilson and wish him well in his retirement. Brian will be a part of the station and a part of the various shows, obviously. But I'll be taking over from 3 until 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Very excited.
You're effectively filling in on your own show until the 26th.
It's kind of the way that it's starting to feel that way. I mean, Bell K's ready to get me out the door, man.
Go. Let's split now. Go. Out.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been this excited for a change since they decided to do Star Trek Discovery, and they had to kill off that chick from The Walking Dead to get her on the show. And I'm like, let's go. Let's knife her, axe her, do something.
You see, if I wasn't so confident in our personal relationship, that I would be worried that you like Chad better than me.
I don't know Chad as well as I know you. I like Chad a lot, and I'll probably end up getting along with him famously just like I do with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I know you much better. I have 3 years on Chad.
I think all of us are going to get to know and love Chad as well. 615-737-9986. Let's real quick. Zach is in Green Hills. Hello, Zach.
Hey, Matt. Congrats on 3 years at the station.
Thank you, brother.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm a local primary care doc who operates in Green Hills, and I just wanted to thank you for the conversation that you're having. You're making great points. They're all spot on. And I wanted to just voice my perspective from the medical field to explain that there are so many of us primary care docs who are fed up with the insurance companies too. And I wanted to make sure that your listeners are aware that there are other options besides traditional insurance-based medicine and concierge, high-dollar, exclusive concierge medicine out there. The type of practice that I'm specifically thinking of is what's called direct primary care, a type of primary care model where the patient contracts directly with the physician. Usually these are solo micro practices where the patients have access to the doctor through cell phone, text message, email.
I'll give you
no middlemen whatsoever.
I'll give you an example. I met with someone earlier today, Grace Point Medical in Franklin.
Sure, same model.
Dr.
And
Rob is a great example of how that model is growing and how that model is working for patients.
Right, exactly. I think it's wonderful to see that these type of practices are growing. And, about 30% of my patients don't have any health insurance whatsoever. And so these are folks that typically wouldn't be able to go see a doctor, wouldn't have access to a primary care doctor were it not for direct primary care practices.
Absolutely. Love the concept, love the idea, and love the fact that more and more of that is happening. I think these are free market solutions to problems that exist within the industry, and we need more of those types of free market solutions. I think we can do more to further it along and to promote the idea of getting closer to patients rather than further away. Thank you, Zach, for the call. I appreciate you so much. It's 31 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.1:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Well, the Justice Department Inspector General's report on the January 6th riot is out, and it says 26 agents were there for protest events that day. But none of them had anything to do with instigating the events of that. The report says 3 of those FBI agents did enter buildings or areas they were not supposed to, but not because the FBI authorized it. And the one thing the report faults the FBI for is not gathering enough intelligence. Capitol Police said they had no knowledge of a January 5th FBI report that warned of the potential for war at the Capitol one day before. U.S. Senate preparing a vote on expanded benefits to about 2.8 million Social Security beneficiaries whose payments are limited right now. Social Security Fairness Act has already passed the House. It'll need at least 60 votes in the Senate to get to President Biden's desk. U.S. House just passed a bill dealing with appointing federal judges. That is likely going nowhere. U.S. Senate passed it in August, but the House waited until after the election. They passed it today. It allows 66 new federal judges to be appointed to help take care of a backlog of cases. 22 of those 66, President-elect Trump will be able to appoint. And that's the issue Democrats have, and President Biden vowing to veto it, so it's likely not happening this Congress. And the White House is sharing more information about the numerous recent drone sightings across New Jersey. National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby just spoke to reporters.
We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or a public safety threat.
The House Speaker Mike Johnson telling reporters he will receive a classified briefing on the drones today, but didn't provide details on when or with whom. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for the Glock Store. The Glock Store is your one-stop shop for all things Christmas stocking stuffers in town. And friends, the Glock Store is party central, frankly, for the Christmas holiday season. As a matter of fact, I've been talking to you about the Glock Store and their Shoot 270 rooms, never lanes, rooms at Shoot 270. And you know, you can give a stocking stuffer of that variety. They can get you some scheduled sessions that you can give to a loved one in your life. If you're looking for a great place to have your holiday photo with Santa, what about this? Santa Claus will be at the Glock Store Saturday, December 14th. Kids, Santa Claus is coming to town, and he'll be at the Glock Store, my favorite gun store and indoor range, the Glock Store. So bring your kids, bring your pets, bring your significant other, bring the whole darn family, and get a free Santa portrait. You heard me, free. It's Tactical Santa, stopping by the Glock Store this Saturday, December 14th from 11 until 4. Glock Store's official photographer will be there. So you don't have to worry about bringing your camera or bringing your phone. All you have to do is be there with your family or your friends, your significant other or whatnot, and you can get your free Tactical Santa photograph. It will be the best one ever. Let me be perfectly clear. I said free, free, free. Free to you, free to me. It's the Glock Store, glockstore.com or shoot270.com, minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere, especially this Saturday, December 14th, from 11 until 4 with Santa. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 38 minutes after the hour. We'll get together with Debbie Matthews coming up in just a moment or two. Debbie's got some big goings-on in Columbia, Tennessee. Always some big goings-on in Columbia, and we'll talk to her about that. We'll talk to her about Donald Trump, his election, the cabinet that's getting put together, all of those things on the table when Debbie stops by for a
You're
visit.
burying the lead, dude.
What is the lead, Belle?
She brought me whiskey. That's the important part.
You going to share some of that?
Absolutely not.
I got a fresh pot of hot right now in the break room.
A fresh pot of hot.
Yes, sir.
I'll give you a handful of nothing.
Ken says, hey, that's when it goes into coffee, it's for medicinal purposes.
That's right.
That's true.
I got a sore throat. I got a bit of a scratch.
My doctor prescribed this marijuana, damn it.
That's right. Me mom used to put a little nip in her coffee. That wasn't drinking. That was just to keep her throat clean.
That's medicinal.
That's exactly right. Make sure her bones don't ache. Well, our bones ache, Belle. I'm glad you got a little something. That's nice, Belle. Yeah. You're going to in for a problem. That's exactly right. 615-737-9986. Primarily talking about healthcare today. Obviously, there's some other news items out there on the table to include this report. Believe it at your own peril. I mean, it's the Justice Department and their Inspector General issuing the report. It's funny, though, because in one media outlet's report, they indicate that the Justice Department had at least 3 confidential human sources that attended the events of January 6th. So there were at least 3 people assigned to be present for the event. So there were 3 people embedded within the event. The Justice Department also says that there were more than 24 confidential human sources in the crowd. Okay? All right, that's Fox News reporting that. Here's CNN's version of the same report. This is what, pisses people off about the mainstream media. So, the Department of Justice Inspector General says that there were more than 24 confidential human sources in the crowd January 6th, but only 3 were assigned by the FBI. Okay? The same report as reported on by CNN. No evidence found to back up Trump allies' January 6th claims, the watchdog says. There were no undercover FBI employees at the Capitol that day, refuting suggestions by some GOP lawmakers that the violence was provoked by agents. Same report. Then you get into the meat of their reporting. A Justice Department watchdog found that there were no undercover FBI employees at the U.S. Capitol during the January 6th riot, rejecting speculation from allies of President-elect Trump, who have for years suggested that the violence was provoked by federal agents. The DOJ Inspector General said Thursday that while no undercover agents were at the rally, 26 confidential human sources or paid FBI informants were in Washington that day. Excuse me. If the FBI pays someone as an informant, does that not make them an employee of the FBI? Just me? Just me? Okay, just me. Bree is next in Greenbrier. Hello, Bree. Thank you for calling.
Hi, congratulations on 3 years.
Oh, thank you, Bree. I appreciate that.
So I graduated college last year with my degree in health information management and certified coding. I cannot get my foot in the door, but that's besides the point. While I was in school, we had a teacher tell us that insurance companies are so deeply ingrained in healthcare that doctors' offices say, like the nurse that's running the desk, she does not see a paycheck until the 12th patient is seen that day. So I was like, so are you telling me that insurance companies are forcing doctors to push patients out the door? She's like, yes, essentially. And then she went on to say that insurance companies understand and see things in the term of revenue and money, but they don't ever look at things from a medical perspective. So when they go in to deny your claim, they're looking more about the finances of it and not so much what is it that you need, which I always thought was funny because I was like, well, they make the argument for medical necessity all the time. If it's not deemed medically necessary, your insurance company will automatically deny it. And I'm like, I have family members that, that are diabetic, and their insurance companies have denied their insulin. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then my husband, for example, because he just turned 42, he basically has wet MDS, which they won't diagnose him with because he's not over the age of 60. They won't offer him any other treatment options either other than injections in the eye, which insurance will not cover because you have another eye, so you can lose your eyesight in one eye, and their viewpoint is you have the other eye. And it's $5,000 a month out of pocket for us.
$500 a month?
$5,000 a month.
Whoa. Holy moly.
Yeah. For one injection.
I mean, and you've been a part of the system. You've been working this for how long?
Probably about 5 years now.
Yeah. Is it getting worse?
Worse. More. It's insane to me because even me and my doctor, my personal doctor, have talked about it. The way that the insurance words things, and it's almost like they force doctors not to be able to care for their patients in the way that they really should or that they want to. So, like, and I didn't know this, but different states view what is actually health care differently. So the state of Tennessee, as far as insurance goes, only views medical massage, chiropractic, and acupuncture as alternative, like, therapies your insurance will cover. They won't cover anything else. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense either. I'm like, dietitian, nutrition, supplementation, all of that's healthcare too.
Do you get to a point, and I'm not casting aspersions at you, because I think
No.
you do an important thing, but does it frustrate you? Do you ever sit back and think, well, we're talking about human beings, not numbers?
Yes, very much so. And I've always made that argument. And it's sad when the healthcare industry is more, it's a job. It's more, instead of being out there to help people and heal people and get them to enjoy life more, it's all about, well, if I give them, say, this pill and I diagnose them with this, I'll get this kickback, and they'll keep coming back for this pill, so I'll keep getting money for prescribing them this, because doctors get kickbacks for every diagnosis and prescription that comes out their office.
I mean, and when you use words like kickbacks, you know the reaction that gets.
Yes, I know, but it's still, they get paid for it. They get paid to diagnose you and paid to prescribe you meds. Whether or not that's actually going to help the problem or help you to actually heal.
Well, I mean, don't get me started. I mean, the pharmaceutical wing of this broad conversation is one that will get me madder than any other.
Oh, I hated it when I learned more. The more I learned about the pharmaceutical industry, I started questioning whether or not I wanted to finish my degree.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I get it. I understand it. Well, Bree, hang in there. I think you're a part of the solution, not a part of the problem, okay?
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, but I appreciate that side of it too. Bree's just doing her job, but Bree sees some of the heavy-handedness that's taken over some of these claims denials. And in some ways, I mean, when doctors are working, and frankly, in some ways, they are doing the bidding of the patient too. Don't get me wrong. A lot of times patients want quick fixes when it comes to whatever issue that they see in front of them. When pharmaceutical companies are leaning on doctors to prescribe said pharmaceuticals, when the insurance company wants that type of quick fix as well, nobody wants to talk about nutrition and exercise. Nobody. And doctors need to get paid too. I can understand the level of frustration. We're going to talk to two more folks about this and move on to a few other things. Bodie is next. Hey, Bodie.
Hey, buddy. Who knew 3 years ago when you showed up, you'd end up being the best guy on the whole station?
Oh, well, that's very kind. I mean, thank you. I don't believe that for a second, but I appreciate you saying it, Bodie, and I'm just going to try to do my best, keep my head down, and do the best I can from 3 until 7 o'clock starting in the new year, brother.
Yeah. And the redhead's a stranger says hi. Ran into her today at the airport.
Nice.
On the insurance thing, I talked to a guy last night, and his job is he deals with denied claims. And he basically said that the problem is the doctors aren't, and it's not necessarily coding things correctly, it's policies and procedures that each insurance company has, like you said earlier, all these little loopholes that they use to escape paying for something or denying something, is that they all have different rules. And so your doctors now have to have somebody in their office that understands the rules of 16 different insurance companies for the same procedure.
Well, and doctors learn certain insurance companies and they gravitate to those insurance companies because they appreciate their practices better than others, and that, can exclude other people with other types of insurance and that sort of thing, right?
It's happened to me, yes. I had a doctor I had for 17 years that stopped accepting the insurance that I had at that time, yes.
And he just said, I'm sorry that I've got to do it?
Yep, that's it. Sorry, no longer next year we will no longer be accepting this insurance. Sorry.
I mean, it's maddening, absolutely maddening. And now add this component. Now, certain, I mean, obviously you've got to be in network with the insurance in order to go to that particular doctor or that particular specialist. Then add the back end component that many group policies and many different insurance companies are teaming up with certain pharmacies. So you can only go to particular pharmacies. I mean, it seems like a big. I mean, I go back to the original point that I made, Bodie, and thank you for the call. It seems like a big club, a cabal, almost a mafia, and we ain't in it. But everything it's about has to do with our health. And everyone involved tells us the same thing. Oh, we care about your health. You know, another thing I'd do if I were king for the day? I would eliminate employers from the insurance process. I would make insurance more like car insurance. Do a couple of those examples. I've done a couple of those examples. Number 3, if you're asking Matt Murphy, I'm not pretending this would fix everything, but it would fix a lot of it. And I don't take this lightly when I say this. I do not take this lightly when I say this. And it's going to be fairly controversial when I say it because I'm a free speech guy, right? No more advertising pharmaceuticals. Nope. Done. What? You can't advertise cigarettes. Up until recently, you weren't allowed to advertise alcohol or hard liquor. Beer advertisements have been around. I'm talking about television and radio. I was told today by an individual that I was talking to earlier this morning that America is only one of like 2 countries civilized. I mean, first world. I almost said civilized is not the right word, not the right terminology. Only one of 2 nations that allows the pharmaceutical industry to advertise. Why? Why are we advertising? 3293, we do not need universal health care. That is not the answer. That will make the problem worse. 52 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Here's a natural solution to maybe some of your sleeping problems or your energy problems. If you've noticed you're low energy, are you worried about not getting enough sleep? If you're not getting enough sleep, why? Is it possible that you have sleep apnea? Do you know? Do you snore at night? Well, even if you don't, you could possibly have sleep apnea that leads to a restless night's sleep. I was that guy, and I talked to Dr. Stephen Paas, at the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. Dr. Stephen Poss and Dr. Brian McLaughlin, they have exceptional experience in regards to sleep apnea and its solution. They have an FDA-approved oral device that gently supports your jaw, helps you breathe better, snore less, and you don't have to wear a hose. You don't have to wear a mask. You don't have to worry about any of that. Now, fall is here, and almost winter's right around the corner. Let's get a scheduled appointment with Dr. Stephen Poss or Dr. Brian McLaughlin right now, because if you've met your deductible for your insurance, they're in network, and they can assist you in a way that's going to benefit you in so many different ways. You're just going to feel better, sleep better, have better energy. Dr. Stephen Poss, Dr. Brian McLaughlin, the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. 2 locations, Brentwood and Murfreesboro, drposs.com, drposs.com.
Well, the White House weighing in on the big drone mystery over New Jersey, and Morgan Wallen cut a deal with prosecutors today. We'll tell you about it at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Ken Weaver. I also have this news item that just came across my desk. White House Security Advisor John Kirby has said a few things about these drones that are happening in New York and New Jersey. Yeah. I got some of that.
I'm going to play some of that for you, too.
Ken Weaver's beat me to the punch. Ken Weaver's got some of that audio, and we're going to talk about it in just a moment. We'll also talk to our good friend Debbie Matthews, who stops by in studio with us. They have a very special guest coming down to Columbia, I guess at the beginning of the year. Is that right? No, next week. Goodness me, Monday. Yeah. Perish the thought, not next year. So we'll do that coming up in the 2 o'clock hour and continue talking with you on the Matt Murphy Show. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Two o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and I'm seeing a crash causing a problem in Bellevue. This is going to be Highway 70 South near I-40 West. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. The White House sharing some information about the numerous recent drone sightings across New Jersey in recent weeks. National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby says there is, quote, no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or public safety threat.
The Department of Homeland Security and the FBI are investigating these sightings, and they're working closely with state and local law enforcement to provide resources.
Now, House Speaker Mike Johnson telling reporters he will receive a classified briefing on the drones today without providing details on when or with whom. The Department of Justice Inspector General says there is no evidence that FBI agents incited the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol riot. This is the same report which says there were 26 informants in D.C. for the protests, and 4 of them did enter buildings and areas they were not authorized to enter. Still, the Inspector General says there's nothing to suggest any of those agents were authorized or directed to join the assault on the Capitol or to encourage the mob. 4 informants entered that building during the riot. None of them have been prosecuted. The U.S. Senate is preparing to vote on expanding Social Security benefits to about 2.8 million beneficiaries whose payments are limited right now. The Social Security Fairness Act has already passed the House. It will need at least 60 votes in the Senate to get to President Biden's desk. And the U.S. House passed a bill today that President Biden says he's going to veto. The Senate had passed the Judges Act back in August. It allows for 66 new federal judges to help reduce a backlog of cases. But the House didn't vote until today. And that's not sitting well with Biden and Democrats because President-elect Trump would be able to appoint 22 of those judges. So it's probably not going to happen this Congress. Time magazine putting President-elect Trump on its cover, naming him 2024 Person of the Year. Here's what he said about it while ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange this morning.
The media's tamed down a little bit. They're liking us much better now, I think. If they don't, we'll have to just take them on again, and we don't want to do that. But I do want to thank Time magazine. I've been on the cover many times. I don't know who has the record.
Trump's first selection as Person of the Year was after he won the presidency in 2016. Entertainment news, CMA Entertainer of the Year Morgan Wallen made a deal with prosecutors, and he pleaded guilty today to 2 reduced charges of reckless endangerment for throwing a chair off the roof of Chief's Bar, nearly hitting Metro cops standing below in April. Here's the judge speaking to Wallen.
Do you have any questions at all about what you're charged with and the punishment you could receive, that is the maximum punishment, and what you're pleading guilty to and the punishment that is being imposed?
No, ma'am.
Well, Wallen was given a 2-year suspended sentence with 7 days incarceration in a DUI education program. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, hour number 3 starts right now. It is 6 minutes past. A good afternoon. Glad you're here. Thank you for being around. Whatever time you're able to give us, we're certainly appreciative of that. I'm here till 3 o'clock. We'll hand off to Brian Wilson at that time. John Kirby's here. Old John Kirby is he's the co-press secretary because Karine Jean-Pierre can't really do her job. And Debbie Matthews is here as well. Hey, Debbie.
Hello, good looking.
Oh, well.
Hey, listen, this guy is
behind me.
Listen, I heard congratulations on the new position.
That's very sweet. Hey, is our camera positioned correctly, Belle?
Is
you
it?
got it?
I guess.
I mean, I'm just asking the
question. But when I walked in today, I was like, man, Matt he's got that look of I'm now the Grand Poobah.
That is not.
No, it is true. I said you're looking dapper. Absolutely, true. It is.
At least the look matches the attitude.
It's the swagger. It's
such
all about the swagger.
Garbage. I'm just going to let you two spew garbage for the next hour, and I'm going to leave.
But congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you a congratulatory.
What are you giving me? What do I get? What is that? Oh,
you get some Woodford.
Holy moly!
Yes.
Hey, look, Weaver, I got some hard liquor.
So that is congratulations.
Oh, you didn't have to bring presents.
Listen, y'all are so good to me.
You did.
Yes, but thank you, and thank you for the great year and all the stuff. But that is
sweet.
And then this is for you and Erica. Yeah, I'm going to open this. So it's a good bottle of wine.
Yeah, that's nice.
And then this is a gift card.
Oh, well, look at that.
From my friends at the Butcher Block in Cool Springs.
Oh, my goodness.
So y'all can go out there.
Holy moly.
The Butcher Block is a conservative-owned and operated business, so make sure you go
do a little advertising over here.
Hey, they should. They should.
I like my beef with the side of central planning.
And then here's a bully, here's a bully stick for your babies, your doggies. That I always remember.
How about that?
That's right.
Wait, hey,
now you can break it. I break it into 5 pieces because I have 5 dogs. But there's.
Hey, Weaver.
Yes, sir.
What do you think Fritz the wiener dog would do with it?
He'd probably bite it. He'd probably bite it and yank me with him.
You can't even get that thing into the camera shot. It's so big.
It's like a cane. Hold on.
Yes, it is.
Can you see it now?
Yes. My dogs love those.
No, it's still not all in the picture.
But at the Butcher Block, I got that at the Butcher Block because they take care of your dog as well as your meat.
Very sweet.
They have animal dog food, the natural stuff. They've got fresh eggs. When you go in there, you're like, why would I shop anywhere else? So go visit the Butcher Block.
Where are they?
They're in Cool Springs. In the Cool Springs area, so Erica have to make a trip down there to get good steaks.
That's a wonderful gift. Thank you so much.
You're
for
welcome.
Giving me that gift.
The last time I was here, they were eating and boiling cats and dogs in Ohio. Now we've got drones the size of SUVs.
Oh, but never you fear about any of that. John Kirby says that we don't think that any of that's happening.
On the drones, does the U.S. government have any of its own imagery or video of these systems?
I'm not aware that we have U.S. government produced imagery ourselves, but as I said in my opening statement, we have certainly done thorough analysis of the existing imagery.
Like from people's cell phones that we're seeing? Basically, with what you're looking at, how can you credibly tell people that there is no public safety threat, there's no national security threat, that there's no reason to believe that a foreign government is involved?
Because the analysis thus far, in an investigation that is ongoing, has not revealed any national security or malicious intent or criminal activity. But, Jackie, I would remind you, we're at the beginning here, not the end. There's a lot more work to be done, and we're working closely with state and local authorities to gain more information. I would argue that we're moving pretty well here.
So the amount of citizen-based reporting that has gone on regarding these drones is overwhelming.
We're in week 4, I think, too. 3 or 4.
Ken, when did you first hear about this?
I didn't hear about this until Monday.
No, it's been going on a little while.
Apparently.
Well, what I want to know is how do we have a $900 billion military budget and they can't tell us what these things are? That's where I'm incensed. It's like we spent all this money to have the best and the brightest military. They should know everything, and then they don't know. And
Well,
they're over Dallas now, guys. They reported one over Dallas last night. There's over Atlanta and North Carolina. You know, at this point, there's probably just drone guys throwing it up at night just to add to the
just
chaos.
to screw around. But
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. I mean, there are going to be copycats now. So these things are reportedly huge. These
Size
are
of
not,
an SUV is what they said.
These are not the type of drones that you would go to, you know, we used to say Radio Shack, although Radio Shack doesn't exist anymore. But these are not those types of drones that you would buy for, you know, your family member on Christmas. These are huge industrial type military grade drone.
Right. There was a congressman on yesterday, and they're, of course, calling him a tin hat wearing, you know what, that he is saying that China has done a deal with Iran to give them their drone expertise, and that these things are coming off of a ship somewhere. The big one's going up, and then the little ones are flowing out of it. I mean, he seemed pretty certain in his commentary yesterday, and he was a lot more emphatic naming names than John Kirby was today.
Congressman Jeff Van Drew had this to say.
Van Drew of New Jersey, member of the House Judiciary Committee on the Hill right now. How do you address this at this point?
Well, here's the real deal, Harris. You know, I'm also on the Transportation Committee, on the Aviation Subcommittee, and I've gotten to know people. And from very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Now, you know, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyist or hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. Know that Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down. Whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down. We are not getting the full deal, and the military is on alert with it.
So a number of things to unpack. I don't know if Jeff Van Drew is correct or not.
Right.
I mean, nobody sitting here in Nashville, Tennessee knows whether he's right or not. However, he's not just sitting on national television making this up.
Right.
He has sources that he believes in feeding him this information. He's in New Jersey.
Right.
Right. So this is in New Jersey and New York in populated type areas. This is the same basic footprint where planes flew into buildings and killed thousands of people. So you mean to tell me that unidentified objects are just in the sky and everybody's just kind of throwing their hands up going, oh, well,
we
you know,
seeing
we don't
the
know.
complete cracks of all the federal agencies in their ineptness and competency in every way, period, right now.
Now, just in the interest of the fullness of the story, I tell you that the Pentagon immediately denied anything and everything that Jeff Van Drew said. He said that they should be shot down. You just heard that. National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin asked Pentagon spokesperson Sabrina Singh during a briefing yesterday about the allegations, and she said there was no truth to any of the allegations, saying there's no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States. There's no so-called mothership launching drones toward the United States. But I would remind all of you, this is the same administration that allowed a Chinese spy balloon to float across the continental United States of America and did nothing about it.
That's right. There was also a story yesterday that a Chinese national, I believe, was taken into custody at the airport as he was trying to go back to China because he flew a drone getting information over a military base in California. That is a deep-seated story that nobody's really talking about, but that just happened. Chinese guy arrested before he's getting on a plane, having a drone fly over. I can't remember the name of it. It's not Knickerbocker. I can't remember the name of the military base, but it was California. It's out there, and nobody's talking about it. It's insanity. But what scares me is, going back to the Iran thing, is that they've been saying Iran has a hit on Trump. And now this thing's parked right above Bedminster in New Jersey. I mean, there needs to be somebody concerned about this,
I want to go back to John Kirby earlier today. This is from a little over an hour ago. John Kirby speaking at the White House, because anytime that any questions get difficult, Karine Jean-Pierre, who is as awful at her job as anybody has ever been at their job, she has to pass off to someone else. John Kirby, White House National Security Communications Advisor, had this to say about the drones.
Now, finally, I just want to add a few comments on the reports of drone activity here on the East Coast, particularly in and around New Jersey. We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or a public safety threat, or have a foreign nexus. The Department of Homeland Security and the FBI are investigating these sightings, and they're working closely with state and local law enforcement to provide resources using numerous detection methods to better understand their origin. Using very sophisticated electronic detection technologies provided by federal authorities, we have not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings.
Okay, so a couple of things. You tell me on the front end that there's no evidence that this is foreign in nature.
Right.
And then on the back end, you tell me that you haven't been able to corroborate any of the visual sightings.
That's right.
So which is it? You either don't know what you don't know and you don't know anything, or you know something.
Well, there was somebody in one of these news press conferences today saying there was a helicopter hovering above one of them. It was a state, I think a New Jersey Air Guard was above one of these things in a helicopter and decided they were not safe. And so they have visually been above it.
Well, you either haven't been able to corroborate any of this,
right,
or you have.
Right.
And if you haven't been able to corroborate any of this, then for you to say that we don't have any evidence that this is foreign in nature is being completely disingenuous. You don't know.
Right.
Why don't you just tell us you don't know if you don't know?
Right. Right.
Because the other answer is you do know and you're just trying to hide it.
That's right. I think the timing of this is what really stinks to me, because it's going in towards January 20th. The deep conspiracy theories people for years have been saying there's going to be a false UFO attack. There's going to be something weird happen so martial law can be brought in. And I was like, no. But now we are sitting here with unidentified objects in 5 or 6 states coming into January 20th, and everybody's just sort of twiddling their thumbs saying everything's okay.
Well, and then he went on to say this. Now, you just heard him say there's no evidence that this is foreign in nature, and that we don't have any corroboration about any of these visual sightings. Then he went on to say this.
We have not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings.
Okay.
To the contrary, upon review of available imagery, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully.
Really? So these are manned aircraft. All right, I understand that there's a lot of airplanes above New Jersey. I understand that there are a lot of airplanes above New York. I also understand that New Jersey people and New York people know what the hell an airplane looks like, and know what the hell a helicopter looks like.
Right. There were airplanes before 4 weeks ago. These
Right.
look different. And so, really, it's just, Again,
It's weird.
the timing of it is everything.
I am not Mr. Conspiracy Guy, and so I probably would not be as concerned about this, but for the numerous examples during the Biden administration of foreign countries spying on us from the air,
right.
And them doing nothing about it.
Maybe Biden sold us along the way to China when we really don't have sovereignty anymore. They can do whatever they want.
Well, he had to get that 10% for the big guy.
I know, right?
Absolutely. 615-737-9986. We're going to talk about what Debbie Matthews has going on this Monday, coming up in just a moment. We'll also take your telephone calls on healthcare, drones, or anything else on your mind. It is 2:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Are you tired of living in pain? Do you feel like no one's really listening to you when you talk about your pain? You have choices when it comes to your pain management and your care. At the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief, they do things differently. They take the time to listen, to understand, and to create a personalized one-on-one solution just for you. I know because I'm not only a spokesperson for the Dr. Gill Center, I'm a client of Dr. Gill's and his team of professionals. They have a chiropractic care team that's there ready to assist in all of your needs or any of your needs. They have the most modern technologies available. As a matter of fact, they brought spinal decompression technology to Middle Tennessee. They also have the Class 5 laser system, the red light therapy, and everything else that can help alleviate that pain without having to consider surgery and without having to continue to pop pills. Take it from me. It works. I'm a personal testimony. Don't settle for a clinic that doesn't put you first. Go to the Dr. Gill Center. Choose the place that actually listens to you and your family. Call them today at 615-882-4838, 882-4838, and schedule that appointment today. Or visit them online to find out more at callmepainfree.com. Callmepainfree.com. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief.
Got a crash. This is going to be in Bellevue. It's impacting Highway 70 South right near I-40. And I've got more of that exchange between National Security Advisor John Kirby and a reporter on these mystery drones you'll want to hear here at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Looking forward to more of that. It's 2:25 right now, almost 2:25. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matt Murphy and Debbie Matthews sitting in with me this afternoon. Glad to have you along for the ride. We'll get to your telephone calls momentarily. Talk to me about what's happening on Monday.
Well, I came in. Belle goes, Debbie, what are you talking about today? I said, Ashley Babbitt's mother's coming to visit. And he goes, Ashley Madison. I was like, well, that's where your mind is right there. Ashley Madison.
I'm going to tell. I'm going to tell.
Bell's a bad boy.
I'm going to tell.
Go ahead. It's all right. You can tell.
Tell. What is he going to tell? What are you going to tell?
Bell's got a girlfriend.
I figured he was happy. That's why he's on Ashley Madison.
That's not what I was expecting you to tell.
But that was the first thing that came out of his mouth. I was like, okay, well, we know now.
Oh, what did you think I was going to tell?
I didn't know. That's why I was curious.
So I haven't really seen you since we were at the Bluebird, I don't think.
Uh-huh.
I think the Kyle Rittenhouse event that we had, thank you for
there.
coming.
Yeah,
yes,
it was wonderful.
But I don't know if that was the last time I saw you. So I'm the chair of the conservative Republicans of Murray County because, in D.C. you can look at Republicans, which is Mitch McConnell and all those people, or the conservative Republicans who are, the other people.
Different people.
Yeah, we're different. But but anyway, we had Kyle Rittenhouse down, and we raised a little bit of money. Wasn't a ton, but a lot. It was a good amount, fairly good amount. And so anyway, I heard there was a fundraiser that was supposed to help raise funds to pay for the rental house that the January 6 families rent in D.C. They have a house there where when the families come in to visit families, they don't have to rent those hotels at $500, $600, $700, $800 a night or whatever. They fly in, they go to this place, it's their jumping off point, they see family, then they can leave. But the fundraiser got canceled. It was canceled by all the liberals. So anyway, we paid for a month of the January 6 families' house rental in D.C. And so Ashley Babbitt's mom, Mickey Whithoff, I hope I pronounced that correctly, she is the one that organized that for all the January 6 families, even though her daughter died. But she's coming into our meeting Monday night to thank us for paying the rent for that month. It was not cheap because rents up there are not, but she's coming in. And so we're inviting people, if you'd like to come and hear her talk or speak, we'd love to have you Monday night at 6 o'clock at the Memorial Building. You've been there many times. Ashley
Babbitt, the only person who died on January 6th as a result of everything that happened that day. By the way.
Actually, no. Roseanne Borland died that day. I think.
Did she die that day or the day after?
She died that day.
Outside of the Capitol?
Yeah, a black female officer beat her to death, yeah. They said she had ADD medicine in her or something, and that's the reason she died, but...
Well, it's certainly newsworthy considering the reporting that's coming out that there were at least 26 officers that were embedded in the crowd. Liberal media networks are trying to report that there were none. There were some, and there were 3 of them that were directly affiliated with. I mean, I say officers. I should say it correctly. I apologize. These were individual informants that were employed by the FBI.
That's right.
In order to infiltrate the crowd, which is exactly the way they do things. And so when CNN says there were no FBI agents, well, they were employing people to be within the crowd. Now, I don't know how much that had to do.
I think they said 3 were authorized and the other 23 came. I don't know. But this is, to me, even more important. Michael Byrd, so Nick Searcy, who you need to have on your show if you hadn't, he did a great movie called The War on Truth. Nick Searcy was... Raylan's boss on Justified, if you remember Justified.
We've had Nick on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Nick did this great movie called A War on Truth, and it shows Ashley Babbitt and the people she was with going up to those double glass doors, and then people coming behind her, raising hell behind her, and then Michael Byrd being on the other side of the glass door, shooting through the door into this crowd, okay? It was footage that I'd never seen before. So if you get a chance to see that movie, pull it up.
And by the way, it's tragic that Ashley Babbitt died. It's also a miracle that other people didn't.
Absolutely. But anyway, Michael Byrd, who was turned down for a shotgun permit by the federal government through a gun thing, had been in trouble several times. I don't even think he's from here. But anyway, I think Biden's about to give him a pre-pardon. Biden's about to pardon this guy.
Maybe he already pardoned him. He threw down like 1,500
I heard that today. Yeah.
So who knows? You got to filter through all of those things. But yeah, I mean, there's more coming. There's no question about it. All right, real quick timeout. We'll get to all of you on the phones, and I know several of you have held for a long time on the healthcare question. It's a very emotional topic, so please hold just a little bit longer. Mike and John or Jeff and Charles and Sean, not necessarily in that order, whether you're talking healthcare or drones. We'll get to you on the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. With Debbie Matthews, our guest for the hour, it's 2:30 on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Mystery drones update. Listen as a reporter presses National Security Advisor John Kirby, who claims there's no evidence that these drones are foreign in nature or a threat to national security.
People in New York and New Jersey see drones the size of an SUV over their house every night and think that that doesn't make any sense.
Certainly I understand why people would be looking at this and being concerned about it. We're concerned about it too, which is why we have the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI, my goodness, looking at this. And we're taking it seriously. We understand that people are concerned. We understand that They got questions. We got questions too. And we're working hard to get the answers to that.
Now, House Speaker Mike Johnson told reporters he's going to get a classified briefing on the drones today without providing details on when or with whom. The Justice Department watchdogs report on the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol riot is out today, and it says FBI agents did not do anything to instigate the crowd, but says 26, as they put it, employees were there that day. 3 did enter buildings and areas which the FBI says it did not authorize. About 2.8 million Americans could get expanded Social Security benefits under a bill the U.S. Senate's preparing to vote on. The Social Security Fairness Act has already passed the House. It'll need 60 votes in the U.S. Senate to get the President Biden for his consideration. And new rules from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau could save Americans billions of dollars a year in overdraft fees, says Elizabeth Schulze.
Typically, you might pay your bank an overdraft fee of $35 per transaction if you spend more money than you have available in your checking account. Well, now this new rule would cap those fees at $5 for many customers. Banks could still end up charging you more than $5, but if they do, you'd have to agree to those terms up front, like when you take out a loan.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Tennessee Men's Clinic is your one-stop shop for all things men's health. And guys, I want to talk to you for a moment because I understand that, you reach a certain point where you can't do what you used to could do. And you think, well, that's just the way it goes, Murphy. But if those things involve, and I'm just going to go ahead and lay it out there, bedroom activity, that is a private matter, and I get it. But you need to talk to the Tennessee Men's Clinic because you don't have to live that way. There are modern techniques and technologies, and there are a variety of different solutions for you depending on what's going on with you. But we need to figure that out first. What if it's T-level? What if I told you that you could easily solve this and replace the naturally occurring T-levels in your body and get back to business, if you will? Well, that's something that you'd want to talk about, right? Well, don't talk to me about it. Talk to the Tennessee Men's Clinic about it. The team at the Tennessee Men's Clinic, they're qualified urologists. They're ready, willing, and able to talk with you. There's 2 locations, one in Franklin. The other's been around for over 10 years in Midtown. Tennessee Men's Clinic. Give them a call today at 615-208-9090, 208-9090, or go online to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for U.S. Pest. You know, it is a common approach to pest control. J.K. and Erica Brister were telling me about this, and they're not wagging their fingers at anybody, but they're just admonishing you that this is probably not the way to do it, right? There's a common approach to pest control that people eliminate their pest service in December and January and February. The reason that this approach isn't the right way to go is because you are allowing pests to infiltrate your home during the time where they want to get inside there the most. When it's cold out, they want the warmth. When there's no food out, they want what you got. And these little pests are communists. They're going to come on in, they're going to take what's yours, and they don't give you anything in return. So if you don't want rodents, if you don't want mice, if you don't want stink bugs, if you don't want spiders, if you don't want these common Tennessee pests that will infiltrate your home during the winter months, bringing with them insect and rodent-borne disease, you need U.S. Pest, the American pest control company that will stamp out these little communist critters and make sure that you are A-OK during the holidays. USPest.com. That's USPest.com, or give them a call at 590-1260. 590-1260. And when you call, tell them Matt Murphy sent you to U.S. Pest. My apologies to those of you watching on Super Talk. I just realized I got a little chapped lip thing going on, and I'm licking my lips a lot. And my grandpa always told me that the reason that your lips are chapped is because you're licking them.
Is that true?
That's
chicken and the egg, baby.
That's what he says. I mean, he said that's exactly right. Which comes first?
I think I have some chapstick in my computer bag. You want me to check?
Is that chapstick new and unused by you?
Not unused, but it is new.
I'm just gonna say, Ashley Madison.
Ashley Madison.
You want new chapstick?
No, Belle. Thank you very much. I've got some chapstick. I think
trying to help.
I think I have some chapstick in my pocket.
I went to the dentist yesterday, and they were like, "Open your mouth," and your lips are dry, and so
which
it
is
hurts,
funny because usually everybody's like, "Just be quiet."
Right, but they're like, "I know," but anyway, the chapsticks thing, yeah. So
it's candy cane flavored chapstick.
Gross.
That's awesome.
Gross? What do you mean gross?
Awesome.
What are you talking about? Gross. What are you sporting over there, fella?
Cherry chapstick.
It's beginning.
Cherry chapstick.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did say it was unused.
No, I said it was used.
I got it.
Did you?
Thank you.
Hey.
You have to be quick around here. I'm telling you.
Matt, when you were a kid, did you ever buy the cherry chapstick just to eat it?
No.
You never
Belle.
did that?
No, but I was not a window licker. I did not.
Yes, you were.
Oh.
You were a pole licker. You're from was it Christmas Story? You're the kid in Christmas Story?
Probably, yes. Pa did. Pa would tell you if you had chapped lips and you complained about them.
Yeah.
My grandfather would threaten when we were young kids.
Yeah.
My pa would threaten. He said, "I'm gonna go." He didn't say it quite this way, but I'm gonna clean it up for the kids in the audience.
Yeah.
He would say, "I'm going to go get some chicken poop, and I'm going to rub some chicken poop on your lips."
Is this Cecil?
This is Cecil, my
Okay.
grandpa.
Yeah, I thought it was Cecil.
I'm gonna rub some chicken crap on those lips of yours, and I guarantee you won't lick them then.
Oh, it's hysterical.
I mean, his solution was that you need to stop licking your lips, and the way to stop licking your lips is to put chicken poop on them.
He's a wise man.
Well, scared us enough where we stopped licking our lips. Anyway.
You know what's funny is that all those country ways of doing things, like cooking with lard or beef tallow, we were all told by those Harvard-educated people on how dumb and redneck we were to use those things.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's, that's the healthy stuff. We shouldn't have ever stopped using it.
Yeah, you're right. By the way, Rooster says hello, Debbie. I don't know who Rooster is.
Hey, Rooster.
John is next in Nashville. Thank you for holding, John. I appreciate your patience. You're up, my friend.
Hey, I just want to talk about the biggest scam is workers' comp. That is government health care on steroids.
I think that's probably a true statement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was involved in a traffic accident in a company truck, was put on workers' comp. I cannot, they literally called me a liar. I'm the guy that got hit. I was sitting at a stop sign and somebody slammed into me, and now it's been a nightmare ever since. This is why I really wanted to find an attorney that can sue the state of Tennessee for taking away my rights. Literally. They have taken away my rights for seeking health care. And then they said, oh, you're healed. After they said I was healed, then they did a procedure on my back. This is how crooked it is.
John, I sure hate to hear that.
I do too. And you know, John, I'm not saying this as in any way to diminish your story, and thank you for your story. But we could listen to tale after tale after tale like this.
Yeah.
Of people that have had these such negative experiences. We have the greatest health care ever on earth, and sadly, we do not have a delivery system that is adequate to the needs of our citizens.
Right.
And that delivery system comes in the form of this insurance problem that we have.
Right. They say the back office of a doctor's office is 40% of his budget, whereas Medicaid, Medicare, even though they're government, I think it's only 3% of the back office. That's where all the money's going. And, it's burning and turning, people coming in. People are not getting health care. They're getting sick care.
Sick care. That's exactly right. Mike is in McMinnville. Mike, thank you for your patience too, sir. What's on your mind?
Oh, well, I was originally going to call about the insurance, but the drone situation seems to be pretty precarious also.
Is there one flying over McMinnville yet?
Huh?
Is there one over McMinnville yet?
Debbie wanted to know if there's a drone over McMinnville right now.
No, I wouldn't doubt it. But as far as the drones go, I just feel like they're doing test operations. See how far they can, see what they can get away with and what our response is to it. I could see a coordinated attack coming on some of our infrastructure, military bases, or whatever.
I agree, totally.
But as far as the insurance goes, I work in a union shop, have for the last 27 years, and during the contract talks, our insurance coverage, cost, and deductibles, co-pays, yada yada, is all part of the contract bargaining. If it wasn't for that insurance, and I raised $4, I don't know what I would have done,
Yeah.
And so I know your feeling is don't allow these companies to provide insurance, but I think that is one of the reasons we're not having a single payer.
Well, initially, let's talk about how all of this started, and thank you for the call. I appreciate you so much, and I appreciate your perspective and where you're coming from. Where did employer benefits come from? Employer benefits started during wage controls in the 1940s, 1950s, where the government was instituting said wage controls to try to damp down the amount of money, the competition amongst various companies, particularly on the heels of World War II. And the federal government was introducing hourly control and overtime control with regard to the amount that companies could work their employees. Well, as a way to entice the best employees, companies began offering certain benefit packages not having to do with the pay. Well, this eventually extended into certain health care benefit packages on down the road. Now, I'm not talking in the 40s and 50s. I'm talking about in the 60s and 70s and whatnot. And so my concern is that providing you money or providing you resources for health insurance is no longer considered a benefit. It's considered an expectation and a demand that the employer do so. I mean, if you have a certain number of employees, it's an expectation that you provide these things. And introducing the employer as a seat at the table is taking the patient further away from the negotiation process when it comes to what they're negotiating with the insurance company. Mm-hmm. Right now, I can complain as much as, and I'm not saying I have any complaints about my insurance, but I could complain as much as I want about my insurance, and my insurance is not going to change because my insurance negotiates with Cumulus. They don't negotiate with me.
Right.
They don't talk to me.
Right.
They don't have to talk to me.
Right.
And the package is what the package is, and I can choose to either participate and take the Cumulus match, which is generous,
right,
or I can go out on my own.
Right.
Those are my options. So my point is, In 2024, regardless of what it used to be, in 2024, this has become a barrier between the patient and the insurance company to give the patient more bargaining power to get the insurance that they want.
Yeah.
That's...
Well, when I was on the city council, City of Columbia, we had a $68 million budget, right? And so every year it was all about insurance rates and dealing with those. And if you had 2, 3, 5 people within your employee group that had a bout of cancer, it shot your insurance for everybody up. And then you got to know about reinsurance, which is you have to buy catastrophic insurance within your insurance so it goes off to somewhere else. I mean, this is all a weird shell game somehow. But cities are dealing with it, states are dealing with it, big companies are dealing with it. If I were queen for the day, I would tell Murray County, every big business in there, throw it all in a pile and negotiate for Murray County with an insurance carrier and get your rates, and everybody just pay into that.
And my concern, generally speaking, is this: that when people, it has been my experience that when people collectively feel powerless regarding an issue concerning business, they oftentimes turn to government for the power that they think they need to affect change.
Right.
I do not believe the answer that you're going to get from government is going to be the one that you like.
Well, yeah, this is true.
Maybe you might like it today or tomorrow, but you're not going to like it long term.
I just think that bargaining power, when people are able to compete, let's say that the insurance agencies are able to compete, because we have no competition right now. You know, everything. I think Blue Cross Blue Shield is in one region of the country and another one is in another. You know, and the costs are high, really high.
Let me talk to Diego. Hello, Diego. How are you?
Good.
Hey, what's on your mind?
What?
Talk about what you want to talk about.
Oh, about if we're going to get leaded into World War III by the Democrats.
Diego is a smart kid.
Diego, you are a smart young man. I didn't hear what you said right at the beginning, Diego. Say it one more time.
If the Democrats are going to send us into World War III and let Joe Biden, keep on letting him be in office and not letting Trump be in.
Well, Diego, you are a very astute young man, and let me just calm your fear here, and I'm going to let you continue down the road with hopefully. I hope Diego is not driving. He's on the road, but Diego, I suspect your dad or your mom's driving you. Let me say this: let us hope that we can hold the line for the next 38 days, something along those lines.
Yeah,
maybe a little longer than that, until January 20th. Because a warrior, an American patriot and a warrior is coming back to the White House. I don't care what you think about Donald Trump. He puts America first in every single one of his thoughts when it comes to this country and when it comes to foreign affairs and when it comes to things that are happening around us. And I promise you, Donald Trump's not going to put up with drones over New Jersey or New York, and he's not going to put up with foreign countries messing around with the United States of America. Right. And we can only hope that we've got that amount of time left.
Right, and we have to fight for that and be good stewards of our military, because especially Diego and his age, he's aging into where he'll have to go and serve. You know, so we have to be protective of our guys.
Stay out of those foreign wars. Debbie, thank you so much for the gifts, and thank you so much for the time. One more time, lest we forget, Monday
night, the Memorial Building, 308 West 7th Street in Columbia, Tennessee. Ashley Babbitt's mother is coming to spend some time with us, tell us her story, tell us about her veteran daughter who was shot that day, what we can do to help going forward. And pray for our January 6th guys, pray for the pardons. But remember, Ashley Babbitt, regardless if pardons come through or not, Ashley Babbitt's mom, Mickey, will never be whole because Ashley's not coming back. A pardon won't help. So come and join us. I know a lot of people want to pay the respects, see her. It's free to come in. We're going to serve some pizza at 5:30. Show up. Just to be with friends, and then I'm going to treat them to a spa day, so she has a little bit of a spa day, because she is taking care of the rest of the January 6th families, because there's still 18 people in the D.C. prison that haven't even had their first hearing yet. I mean, they've been held 2 years in solitary confinement. This is insanity.
It is.
So
no question.
But thank you for
no ticketing, just
no ticket costs. Come, yeah. We just Even my low TGOP people, come on. Conservative people across the state, come,
Memorial Auditorium.
Memorial Building,
I should say.
308 West 7th Street in Columbia, Tennessee.
Y'all get out there and support Columbia and support Debbie Matthews. We love you, Debbie.
We love you, too.
Thank you so much. Thank you for my bully stick. I'm going to go gnaw on it now.
It's good. Have fun tonight at Robert Earl King, right?
Yeah, that would be. Now I can't remember.
Is that right?
Robert Earl King. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right. I don't know why. 52 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. stranger and stranger when it comes to these drones in New Jersey and New York. John Kirby saying quite a bit about it earlier today at the podium at the White House. 57 after the hour as we wind things down. I know Brian Wilson was on top of this story yesterday, and I expect he will be on top of it as well today. Hello, Mr. Wilson. How are you?
Hey, you know, this is not something new. If you remember, there was a similar thing that happened in Virginia over military bases about 1 year ago, last December. And you know, so they didn't, at the time, they were flying over Air Force bases that had F-22s on the ground and very sensitive installations. And the theory at that time that it was a foreign adversary of some kind, but they never could figure out which one. So now here we are a year later, and it's happening in New Jersey. And there's more. I have encountered a story out of Eugene, Oregon that will blow your mind about what pilots saw just a few days ago off the coast of Eugene, Oregon.
Holy mo! Asleep at the it feels more and more like, I mean, if we are, you either believe John Kirby or you don't. Either way, it's pretty bad, right? When the government of the United States says, no, we don't have any photos of this, independent of some of the photographs that we've seen.
Yeah, he's telling us a lot of things it's not, but he's not telling us what it is.
Right, exactly.
And you know, we don't think it's any problem, but we don't know what it is. Well, how can you say it's not a problem if you don't know what it is?
Right.
It's maddening.
I mean, he starts out saying, we have no evidence that this is any foreign national or from any foreign country. And then on the back end, he says, but we have no idea what it is. Well, then how do you – I mean, like you said, Brian, how do you know?
We don't know anything about them, but we know it's not this. How do you know it's not this if you don't know anything about them? I mean, they're talking in circles. It's Pentagon circle speak of some kind. I don't know.
Well, well, I almost made a joke that I will choose not to.
Don't go there.
But, you know, this would not be nearly as concerning if we did not see this during the Biden administration. As you pointed out, yesterday and today on multiple occasions in the past where there's mystery objects flying above the United States of America, and they don't seem to know their butts from a hole in the ground.
Listen, if you're interested in this story, you got to be with me at the top of the hour because I'm going to play some sound of pilots talking about some amazing things they were seeing just off the coast of Eugene, Oregon, just a couple of days ago. This sounds very similar to what we're seeing over New Jersey. So you haven't heard this yet, and it's worth hearing, I guarantee you.
Brian Wilson is on the way right after Ken Weaver's newscast, and Ken Weaver's newscast is on the way right now. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be in for the drive from 3 until 7 tomorrow afternoon. Looking forward to that. Until then, folks, have a wonderful afternoon. Enjoy the drive. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Until then, hug your loved ones. So long, everybody.